How long will Brexit last? That title is a shorthand. I will explain. My name's Mike Cashman. If you find these videos interesting, please subscribe to the channel. Please support the channel by buying the books or the music. And you can get samples of the Brexit and COVID musicals on viewdelta.com. Right. How long will Brexit last? That title is a shorthand for how long do you think it will be before Britain rejoins the European Union, or possibly in the first instance the single market and the customs union. And I am referring to the whole of the UK, or possibly to England in the event of Scottish, Welsh independence, Irish reunification. But how long will it be? And of course, you may feel that the appropriate answer is forever, that Britain or England will never rejoin the European Union. That's a valid answer. But I'm asking the question. Now, my own view is that it won't be never. And just to put a bound on it, if we look a generation ahead, and immediately I know some people will say, I don't want it to take that long, and I will come to that. But if we look a generation ahead, say 30 years on from the 2016 referendum, if you look at the way that people voted by age in 2016, then certainly given the views that they had at the time, there was a very strong preponderance in favour of EU membership by the younger voters. Now, I have said something like this before. Somebody's disagreed with me and said, no, I don't think it'll take that long. I think we're going to be back in the EU in 7 years. I disagree with you. No, you don't disagree with me, because I'm saying it will take less than 30 years. But all right, I realise that saying a generation puts something into people's minds. So let me be a little bit more focused on how long might it take. I'm not anticipating any change while Boris Johnson is Prime Minister. We probably need to see the end of the political careers of the major proponents, Johnson, perhaps Raab, Patel, Truss, Gove. I don't mean the point at which they're no longer in Parliament, but the point at which they're no longer holding major offices of state. Then I think many things are possible. A way that I like to put the question to Brexit supporters is, okay, we thought that we could convince you of the value of staying in the European Union based on the arguments that we put forward. We failed. We did not succeed in preventing Britain from leaving the European Union. Look at the shambles that we're now in. How much of this do you think it will need before you see the need to rejoin? Just tell us. Obviously, we're facing a winter of discontent where we have a government that, from the point of view of justifying their decision, which was not in any way justified in advance by any rational argument that it was positive for Britain, it's why are we leaving? Because people voted for it. Obviously, we're facing a winter of discontent in which things are going to get a lot worse, and it's hard to predict quite how rapidly support for the Tory government is likely to drop. But given that they've taken us into a dreadful place without any backing for it, there is no basis for it. There is no, for example, there's no consultation, there's no impact assessment. It's just been done as in a sense, as a belief. Then their position is not strong. And I think that is relevant for saying, how long can this last? Clearly, a referendum can be overturned. In 1975, there was a vote to stay in the European Union, and that referendum, if you like, held. The effect of it held. I know people disagree and talk about how much the EEC, as it was, developed over that time. But that consensus held until 2016, so that's 41 years. So that seems like quite a long time. But there was a rational basis for that 1975 vote. There was a reasonable economic argument. We look at what's happening now, and the kind of simplest analysis that I know of the impact of Brexit is when people say, oh, it's causing problems on the continent as well. Yes, there are countries there who previously had 27 partners with whom they could undertake frictionless trading. Now they've only got 26. The one that they've lost is important. In Britain, we had 27 frictionless partners, and we lost all of those 27. Where do you think the impact is going to be greater? So people will look at that, people will come to conclusions, and the demographic impact we don't have to wait 30 years for. It's happening all the time. And remember, the original margin was pretty slim. Now, I know there are lots of arguments about will the EU, the EU wouldn't accept Britain as it is back into the EU. No, they wouldn't, not with a Johnson government, but I'm talking about beyond the Johnson government. I'm talking about more rational leadership. As more and more people, more and more young people come into the electorate, as those people whose opportunities were frustrated by Brexit experience more and more those frustrations, those limitations on their travel, then the idea that Brexit, the notion that Brexit was a good idea, support is already significantly falling for that, and I think will continue to do so. Now, of course, people do make the argument of, you can look at the demographics at a particular point in time, but as people grow older and acquire assets and buy their own house, they become more right-wing and more likely to vote for the Conservative Party. I think for the Conservative Party of old, that might have been true, but what we're dealing with now is a very different animal. The vote for Brexit, many of the supporters of Brexit have made it clear to me that they're in their belief that, this question of economic analysis, whatever, it doesn't enter into it. Brexit is a belief. It's a it's an idea. It's a following. It's worth doing, whatever the consequences. And that, of course, can be quite powerful for building support at a particular point in time. But does that last? Does it last beyond for example, the political careers of the iconic leaders of that movement, whether they be Johnson or Farage or anybody else? So I think as young people, as more and more young people come into the electorate, and, frankly, as the older people who were disproportionately supportive of Brexit compared to the rest of the population leave the electorate, then, as I say, we've got a movement that's only in one direction. Now, it has to be something that becomes politically possible, politically acceptable, electorally attractive, and we are some way away from that at the moment. So there is work to be done, and none of this is going to happen tomorrow. But with a future government of a different complexion, with pressure from political parties' members, I think all sorts of things are possible. But anyway, how long will it be? How long will Brexit last? How long will it be before we rejoin the European Union? As I say, it would seem extremely unlikely that we'll stay outside for more than 30 years. I would have thought 7 to 10 years is a realistic estimate. But what do you think? Do as I say. Subscribe to the channel. But add your comments in the video below. Thank you.